My name's Payton Felix, and I'm a reporter with Shaw Local. Today I am here with Linda Wegner, and she is running for a position on the Dixon School Board. So, Linda, could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Hi. Yeah, I have lived in Dixon almost my whole adult life. I'm married to Greg Wegner, and we have three kids, all of whom were graduates of Dixon High School. I have been on the board for 8 years and served as president for six of those and secretary for two. I decided to run again because we are picking a new superintendent in the next year or so, and we've got a couple contracts to negotiate. I just like the continuity of keeping the board together. We've got a really good board right now, and there's four of us running for four spots. So we're all incumbents. There's quite a learning curve on the board. It takes a while before you understand how a board functions, the finances, um, the abbreviations, everything that you have to know. So by the time you're finished with 4 years, it feels like you're just getting to know it all
Mhm.
that you need to know anyway. Um, so I decided to continue and run again. I'm retired, so I have a lot of time to focus on this. And I think I bring a kind of common sense, calm approach. I like to bring people together. And like I said, we really have a nice working board with people from different walks of life and so on. But I think we have a
I also
pretty
wanted to ask you about another present issue that you mentioned, which was chronic absenteeism, because that is a big problem pretty much all over the state, not just in Dixon. And I do know that the board has a committee that's been kind of working on it lately. But how would you go about addressing that?
well, like you said, our community engagement committee is studying that this year and trying to figure out why we have the problem and what we can do about it. Um, it has gotten worse since COVID. I think kids were used to being home
Mhm.
and parents were used to having them home, and it's hard to maybe get them back in. But we know it's so important. Employers look at their attendance rate, and like I said before, it directly applies to graduation rate
Mhm.
because if you're there, you can absorb some material. If you're not, that's a lot of teachers say if you're just there, you'll pass. So um, what so the committee's looking at it and trying to see what help is out there. We're using the Nexus program at the ROE is kind of a program that helps to identify the root cause and maybe give families the help they need. Um, Sometimes we're not aware of why that child isn't in school.
Mhm.
And there's a variety of reasons that might be personal to the family, but working with a counselor, they can identify what that might be, and we can help them find resources to fix that problem in the community, whether it's housing or food insecurity or babysitting daycare for littler kids or something. There's all kinds of reasons, and so that comes first before truancy. It's different than an old fashioned truancy officer knocking on your door. We're really trying to, or that program is trying to identify the root cause and help people find those resources in the community.
Mhm.
Um, I also have been doing some reading on belonging. It's kind of a simple idea maybe, but if kids feel like they belong in a school, they want to come. So extracurriculars, um, different extracurriculars than they're used to besides just sports,
Mhm.
theater and music, chess, our drone soccer team, all those kind of things bring in different groups of kids. And there's a lot of research that supports them feeling like they belong. If they belong to that, there's a story that I heard about a young student who wasn't in school, kind of a junior high kid, not in our district, just a
Mhm.
story. But because they had asked him to change the letters on the sign outside of school, that
Mhm.
was his job. Go out there and change these letters every day. He had to come to school. And he later talked about how he wouldn't have been in school. He wouldn't have come to school if they weren't counting on him to do that job. So, trying to find out what Dr. Grady always used to say, what is the currency, for that kid? What
Mhm.
what brings them in, what? And so I think that's probably really important, and that's something we're looking at too. And all of our administrators, counselors, teachers buy into that, buy
Mhm.
into that. So we're hoping to talk about that more and have those experiences for all kids,
Mhm.
so they have a reason to come.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's definitely a complicated issue with a lot of different reasons, but it sounds like um it's a good start on it, definitely.
We hope so. We hope so.
Yeah. Um, so going into this next term again, how do you plan on involving parents and members of the community in like decision pr making process for curriculum and policy changes?
Monthly meeting, of course, is an open meeting and there's public comment. People can contact the superintendent or any of the board members, um, or the principal. And then we have that community engagement committee, which is also an open meeting. So people can come before that if there are issues or questions, additions. Um, so I think we have a variety of ways that community members or parents can be involved in some of those decisions.
Okay. All right. Um, well, this last question is kind of a fun one. Um,
Uh-oh.
what is something that people would be surprised to know about you? And it could be anything.
Well, they probably would be surprised that um, I jog. I'm a jogger. I've jogged. Yeah, it's very slow and I don't do races, but for 40 years, I've jogged every other day. And I just did today before I got ready for this meeting. So that's something people would probably be surprised. It clears my mind, gives me time to think, and yeah, it's kind of a peaceful thing.
Yeah. Well, that's great. It's a good healthy habit. I got to get into that